You ever look at a map and wonder about the names of the towns? Most of those stories are lost to time. But today, we're going to trace one name, Poston, South Carolina, all the way back. We're talking 300 years of a single family's journey. It's an incredible story about legacy, about land, and how the distant past connects to a pin on a map you can look up right now.
So this is the Poston Preserve as it is today. It's this beautiful 300-acre private sanctuary. It looks so serene, so timeless, right? But believe me, the journey to get to this peaceful place is a story that stretches across almost the entire history of America itself. It's a mirror of the nation's own migrations, its conflicts, and even its conservation efforts.
And this is the line that really hooked me. I mean, think about it. How does a family name travel across an entire ocean, survive centuries of revolution, expansion, and all kinds of change, only to end up as a little pin on a digital map that you can pull up on your phone? Well, that's exactly the question we're going to answer. And this, right here, perfectly illustrates that journey. On one side, you've got this idea of the past, old, maybe uncharted territory. And on the other, the super concrete reality of today, a specific, known location. The story of the Poston family is literally the bridge between these two images. Okay, so to really get the present, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. Let's jump in our time machine and head back to the early 18th century to the very roots of the Poston family story here in America. Think of this as our roadmap for the next few minutes. It basically highlights the key players over the generations who really shaped this legacy. You've got the first immigrant ancestor, the guy who led the move south, the man who got the town named after him, and the founder of the modern preserve. Each one played a huge role, and we're going to meet a few of them right now. So our story kicks off with one guy, John Poston I. He was the original immigrant ancestor, the one who left England and made that long journey across the Atlantic. And like so many people back then, he was looking for a fresh start, a new beginning in the American colonies. And he found that new beginning in land. By 1722, John Poston was already on the tax rolls up in Pennsylvania, holding a patent for almost 275 acres. And this is so important because right from the very start, this family's identity was tied directly to the American soil itself. That bond started right here. But Pennsylvania? Well, that wasn't the final stop. The next chapter is all about movement. It's a tough migration that was part of this huge wave of people moving into what they called the wild backcountry of South Carolina. This timeline really shows you how their family journey was woven right into the fabric of American history. In 1766, the second generation sells the family farm and starts that long trek south. They end up settling in South Carolina just in time for the American Revolution, where John Poston III actually served under the legendary swamp fox Francis Marion. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, now this is fascinating because it shows you the real detective work that goes into genealogy. For years, the family story was that the migrating brothers were John and Andrew. But check this out. Historical records, like an old family Bible, solved the riddle. It was actually John and his brother Anthony, who they called Antony. It's a small detail, but it's a great reminder of how family stories can get a little twisted over time. So, that big journey south really set the stage for a game-changing moment. We're now jumping ahead to the fifth generation, to a man whose actions would take the family name from just being a name to being a landmark. And this is Andrew Poston. Remember that family myth about a John and Andrew? Well, there's a reason his name was so prominent. Andrew was a veteran of the Civil War, and he came back to South Carolina and became a really important landowner and community builder in Florence County. And here is the big moment. Andrew was a huge advocate for development, and back then that meant bringing in the railroad. He successfully negotiated for a brand new depot siting in his area, and to honor his efforts, the railroad named the stop Poston. Just like that, a community started to grow, and the family name was literally put on the map. And that brings us full circle, right back to the present day. Now, we're going to meet the 8th generation descendant who took this centuries-old legacy of land and shaped it into a modern mission of conservation. This is Dr. Harold Chalmers Poston Jr., the founder of the Poston Preserve. He is the direct link connecting that first immigrant ancestor way back in 1722 to the beautiful sanctuary we saw at the very beginning. Dr. Poston's life is just a story of discipline and purpose. He was a U.S. Navy veteran, a physician, a board-certified pathologist. You can totally see how the kind of precision and dedication you need for a medical career would translate into carefully managing a 300-acre nature preserve. But his vision wasn't just about science or discipline. This quote really gets to the heart of what was driving his mission. He credits his parents for teaching him about love and duty, a feeling he later extended to being a steward of the land itself.
And this all leads to a core philosophy, a really powerful one: ancestral stewardship. It's this idea that you don't really own the land. You're just its caretaker for a little while, and you have this big responsibility to preserve it for all the generations that come after you. It's a concept that really ties the past, present, and future together.
And you can see that whole philosophy reflected right here in the Preserve's three-part mission. First, conservation, protecting nature. Second, heritage, preserving the history of both the family and the region. And third, providing a place for quiet enjoyment. It's just a perfect blend of looking back at the past while also protecting the future.
So when you get right down to it, the Poston Preserve is so much more than just a piece of property. It's like a living library, holding 300 years of one family's American story. It's a reminder that every landscape has a history, which kind of leaves us with one final thought. What stories are written on the land where you live? What legacy does the ground beneath your feet hold?